Hi everyone, we are now live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. So I'm Maud and I work at Perfect Balance Clinic in Cambridge as an osteopath. And here's Sophie.
Hiya, I'm Sophie. I work as an osteopath in the St Albans Clinic for Perfect Balance.
Right, so we are here to talk about migraines and headaches. So if you have any question, pop it in the comment and we'll try to answer them. Otherwise, just listen and tune in and try to gain a little bit of information. So headaches are really common things in patients. So we see a lot of headaches in clinics, and they are really debilitating, aren't they? It's really annoying to have a headache, and there's lots of different types as well, and lots of different symptoms. So what are the most common types of symptoms that you see usually, Sophie?
It's obviously headache dependent because there are different types, but we normally see with tension headaches, you get a lot of sort of build up in the front of your head, and sometimes it can be a bit difficult for you to see and difficult for you to concentrate. You can get a bit of pain in the back of your head coming down your neck. Some people even have symptoms that radiate down their arms. It can be difficult to focus, it can be difficult to eat, you can be quite sensitive to light. So there's lots of different symptoms that people can have.
Yeah, so what we do usually in a session is to ask a lot of questions to you if you're coming to see us. So we'd ask a lot of questions to the patient to try to really understand where it's coming from, to try and understand what type of headache it is, or what type of migraine it is.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you try to understand with the headaches? Is there any question that you'd ask in particular?
Well, I'd want to know how long they've had the headaches for, if it's a new problem or if it's something that they've had for many years of their life, if they've been ever diagnosed with any particular problem, if they've been diagnosed with migraines by their GP. I would want to know if they wear glasses. I would want to know if it affects what it affects in their daily life, their sort of habits. Is there anything else that you would focus on?
Yeah, I think the really important thing is when it has started and maybe looking at if there's a pattern with the headache or with the migraine. So if the patient gets it, for example, every time he does something in particular, so after work or in the morning when they wake up, or after a lot of computer screening, if it's something they've eaten, if it's something like some stress or anything like that. So I think with the type of questions, we're really looking for patterns and pinpointing exactly
Mm,
what triggers or what really gets the migraine going or the headache going.
yeah, because it
Um,
guides the way that we would then treat them, or if we would send them off, refer them to somebody else.
yeah, because that's tell us exactly what type of headache isn't it? So we'd look, for example, let's say tension type headache. So tension type headache, that's usually symptoms around the forehead, and people talk about pressure and really like a elastic band that's pressing onto the head, aren't they?
Mm, yeah, it kind of feels like their brain is too big for their head, and you can get a little bit sensitive around your ears and your jaw.
Yeah. So, is there anything that you think triggers tension type headache? Have you noticed anything in particular that patients have been saying, or?
With tension type headaches, it's the name is key. There can be a lot of stresses that affect them, their work, sometimes their desk ergonomics, even their laptops, or it could just be stresses that are in their life. Um, or sometimes even you can get some tension type headaches if you clench your jaw a lot and just really tense up the muscles that are around your skull as well.
Yeah. So you have on the side of your cheek here muscles from the jaw that attaches on the top here to the bottom. And lots of people, when they clench their teeth, get tension through the jaw, and and actually it connects with like a big muscles or the
Yeah.
temporals here.
Pause and round through here. So it's pretty classic sometimes when they say, "Oh, it just really hurts right through here." It can just be that the fact that that muscle itself is really, really tight, and because the muscle is so tight, it can then lead to them giving them headaches.
Yeah, and I think as well, there's people clenching their teeth during night as well, and so when you do that, then they wake up with this tension in the head or in their jaw, which can then be very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I
Definitely.
think one of the thing there is to target maybe if they have some stress to try and decrease that stress that make them anxious throughout the night or during the day. Or I've advised a few patients as well that they have those I think it's called Garmin things like when you put
A
in
mouth guard, yeah.
yeah
So if you go to then your dentist, because it can actually affect your teeth. So sometimes if you grind your teeth at night so much, it will physically grind them down, which you may need to get fixed later on in life. So we may even advise you to actually go to your dentist for help with your headaches, which sounds a bit strange. And the dentist then can give you a mouth guard to wear at night. So it may not stop you from clenching your jaw, but it will at least stop you from grinding your teeth down, and you'll have a few more answers, and then we can treat the areas that are affected.
Yeah, there's a really common area. It's not really headache. We're going away a little bit, but the TMJ, so temporomandibular joint, which is right in there, and that's a common thing that osteopaths we can help with that. So that's if you have tension with clenching your teeth or tension around that part of your head, that's something that we can help as well. And we would check to see if there's anything wrong happening with the jaw. So we would look at jaw opening and everything that's going on with the muscles in
But
there.
then you can get all other types of headaches, which are known as psychogenic headaches, which come from the neck
Yeah.
rather than anything to do with the head.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the second type of headache that we can talk about. Cervicogenic, same thing. It's in the name, isn't it? Cervical, that's the cervicals, and that's the spine of the neck. Basically, that part of your neck. So basically means that your headaches come from something that's happening into your neck. Is there anything that you would do with those headaches then?
Definitely, definitely. It's really, really common to see, and lots of people they don't realise that it's actually coming from their neck. It can be they normally say, "Oh, it's after a long day at work," and it can be because they've been sitting at their desk, shoulders hunched forward, their neck forward like this, shortening these front muscles back here, and compressing and stretching on some of the muscles back here, and it just sort of causes everything to crunch down a little bit. And so it's very, very common for people to get those types of headaches, and they're pretty easy to treat as well, but they can be very uncomfortable for people. Is there anything that you would do in particular?
Yeah, well, you can see when you're like this how much tension the neck has to go through on the day. So I think the main thing you would look as well at the right base of the skull, where you have quite a lot of muscles attaching from your skull down into those little vertebrae of your neck. That's a really sensitive area. And during those posture or how you're moving your head, and for example, even when you're looking down at your phone and things like that, these muscles are going to be under tension. So they're
They're
going to be
really
working very hard. Yeah.
They're really, really small muscles that have got a really, really big job of trying to hold up your
The
big,
whole
big
head.
head, which is quite a lot of weight compared to the rest of your body. And so they can, we need to look after them.
Yeah, and so you have some nerve coming out of the top of your spine there that then go all along the spine and then go up and actually into your skull here and into parts of your head. So that's how tension through there can then refer and go up and give you actually pain into your head. It's because nerve that's coming out of your neck going back up into your brain, into your skull and then getting in the muscles and all of the brain, and that's how you get referred pain from the neck up into your head. So that's why we would look at the neck first and see if we can help releasing those muscles, improving the mobility. As Sophie said, we'll probably look at posture as well, looking at your desk ergonomic and things like that to make sure that you're not staying like this the whole day looking at your computer.
Exactly. And then if you're sitting up nice and straight like this, you'll look a lot taller as well.
I need to do it. So I think one nice really stretch actually that we can actually show, I think right now, it's a stretch for the trapezius muscle. That's a big muscle coming on the side of the shoulder and then all the way up into the base of your skull.
Yeah.
Really nice one is just bringing your head towards one side and just gently pushing your head a little bit further, and you will feel the stretch alongside your neck. And that's a nice, gentle stretch. We don't want it to be painful, so just keep it nicely if you do it at home.
Yeah.
But before you do anything, it'd be good to make sure that you see someone about your headaches for them to be able to really target and make sure that we know that something is something that can be treated and you don't need to see a GP or anything like that. So that's why we would want you to come and see. It can be physio, it can be osteo, it can be anyone like that that has knowledge in the body that will ask a question and make sure that everything is okay and to try and help you the best that they can.
Definitely. Yeah, you would want to rule out any sort of red flag problems. But I've personally never ever seen anything like that. It's extremely common to get problems through here, which then affect up here.
Yeah.
Um,
And worth mentioning as well with cervicogenic headaches, you can also get some symptoms, what you talked about, a bit going down more in the shoulder and in the arm.
yeah, yeah. So you can get it's almost like nerve pain going all the way down, like an electric shock, and it can actually affect your fingers, and you can feel it through there, which can be a little bit unsettling for patients, definitely. But it's not too difficult to treat, and sometimes just after seeing somebody for one treatment, you can really feel the effects of it afterwards, just because everything's so locked and tight. Just gently releasing it can really help a person.
Yeah, so it's nothing to worry about. It's just something that obviously we'd want to try and get better as soon as possible for you to be pain free.
Definitely.
So another, I think the last big thing that we can talk about it's migraine, which is a big subject as well, isn't it?
Mm.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of migraine going around.
yeah, definitely. But that migraines are sort of a different classification of headaches. They're kind of like a level up from just your classic headache. And different people have different symptoms. But there is sort of an umbrella of different symptoms that they may have, and that different people have different triggers as well. Just because one person has one type of migraine doesn't mean that you'll have a different type of problem. You can still have a migraine as well. They
Yeah.
can be really quite horrible for people. Some people are really, really affected by them. Some people have some more mild symptoms, um, but they're a little bit more complex than just the classic tension or cervicogenical headache.
Yeah, so usually migraine, you would have a diagnosis. So there's an actual diagnosis of migraine. So that would be your GP or a consultant giving you that diagnosis because it's a bit more repetitive. So people would have like episodes of it and things like that. Really targeted triggers that gets the migraine and things like that. And there's two main types of migraines under this big umbrella. There's migraine, what we call with aura and without aura. And that just means that there's migraine that are alongside with some what we call more neurological symptoms, which can really be anything. So it can be some dizziness, some pain throughout the face. So it can be drooping at the face. It can be um, visual dust disturbances. So you can see some lights, some bright lights, or some black dots, in double, things like that. Some people struggle to chew. Some people struggle to speak. So some of the symptoms can be really scary.
Mm.
That's why you need to know to have a diagnosis of migraine to make sure that those symptoms are not something else happening.
Yeah, definitely. And the symptoms can sometimes last for days. Normally, they only last for 24 to 48 hours, but some people it can be it can take it out of them for quite a long time. They can have nausea. Some severe cases even have vomiting and unable to eat, and they need to just stay in a dark room in bed.
Silent.
Yeah, silence, nothing to sensitize them at all whatsoever, just so that they can have that period to recover. And there are different things, different people respond to different treatment types with that. Some people respond to medication that can be given for it. Some people merely treat the symptoms that they have. Some people just, again, all they need to do is keep themselves in a dark, silent room, and then they'll be fine. And other people respond to some hands-on treatment that we can do, but it's all patient dependent.
Yeah. So yeah, even if it's all kind of happening and scary like that, there's still things that we can do and we can help with. And I think with migraine, one of the main thing is management.
Mm.
So it's having a big conversation with them. Again, it's really trying to find out what's triggering their migraines. So if there's anything that really triggers it, if it's, for example, lack of sleep, some people after lack of sleep being really tired, that triggers it. Stress really often can trigger migraine. Dehydration, um, alcohol, things like that. Some people are more food. We were saying as well. He was talking about a patient with sugar.
Yes, one of my patients was really triggered by sugar. So lots of refined sugar. So she had to cut sugar out of her diet entirely, and it almost completely stopped her migraines.
Yeah,
Some people, caffeine. So any type of caffeine whatsoever, any kind of stimulus like that, it happens.
yeah,
So some people, it's just periods of stress in their life. It can be hormonal. For some women, especially, those big hormonal changes that you can go through every month can really affect whether or not they get migraines.
yeah. Actually, like I can talk about it personally. I've had I think one or two in my life, and that was with hormonal changes, and that was so it was really interesting to see how it was just like 1 or 2 day hormonal changes, and then that triggered directly those migraines, and it's really it's changes in the body. So it's your system being a little bit oversensitive or overstimulated, and then that just trigger an oversensitivity of the head, which then create this headache happening into your head, and then these weird symptoms sometimes for some people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But that's why it's so key to find out whether or not you're having migraines and get that diagnosis, that official diagnosis, so that you can get the treatment that you need for it, because it's bizarre almost sometimes how it happens, and you won't actually be able to pinpoint what it is. You're just like, well, I was doing what I was always
Yeah,
doing, and there was absolutely no change in my daily life or time or schedule or anything like that. And they can almost appear random, which is why sometimes they can be a little bit more difficult to pinpoint. And some people, like yourself, I am quite luckily have never had a migraine, and fingers crossed I never will. But they can just sort of crop up once or twice, and it can be a little bit um, uncomfortable for people to not be able to figure out what's going on within themselves. But I mean, have you treated people with migraine before? Migraine
yeah,
headache?
yeah. We had really good clinic with a headache clinic actually, and it was really interesting. So I've treated quite a few migraine people or really headachy people. It's they Most of them that were coming to the clinic, they benefited hugely with hands-on treatment. That was really kind of calming their system down, releasing the tension through the muscles and things like that. Because once they were getting the headache, you then are really tensed and stressed from it, and tired and just exhausted after it. So you can have your all around your muscle kind of tensing up, and they were saying how it was actually helping them to decrease this tension around it, because if you're stressed plus overwhelmed and plus you have really tight muscle, it's just an overload on your system, isn't it?
Yeah,
So having that little thing taking off, it can help you hugely in the long run as well.
Just relax the systems basically and give you a bit of peace of mind. But then there's also quite a lot of comfort in somebody like ourselves or a different health practitioner or a GP just telling you that no, it's actually okay, we can treat this, we can see this, we can, if not resolve the problem, then we can at least treat some of the symptoms and give you some sort of relief, which can be really helpful. But there's a few different things that you can do just yourself. For example, we said go to the dentist if that you think you're clenching and grinding, but if you wear glasses, make sure that your prescription is up to date, because lots of people don't realize your eyesight really changes year to year in your life, and depending on how you're working, what work you do, making sure that you've got that nice posture at your desk and your laptop or your computer is at the right height. Anything else that you would suggest, Maud?
Yeah, I think explaining on the eyesight a little bit is actually, if you can't see, if you can't read something, you'll start doing this type of things, which create all of the tension throughout around the eyes, and all of these muscles are starting to kind of clenched and come together, and that's sometimes what then can cause the overall headache. I think so all of those are very, like, for all of the types of headaches, aren't they? It's not only for migraines.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and so tips in general, I think before trying anything, I'd say before trying anything too big, you can start little stuff. So trying to, for example, keep hydrated throughout the day. That's a big thing with headaches.
Dehydration.
Dehydration, isn't it? Is like a huge trigger for anything headaches and migraines. So keep hydrated throughout the day. Migraine, they talk about trying to eat as well regularly throughout the day to try and keep the sugar high, to keep the energy up.
Definitely.
Sleep is a big one as well. If you're overtired as well, you're more likely to get headaches. So it's balancing your life as well, work and life balance. So reducing stress that's around you. So if you are under a lot of stress, is try to, or maybe have a couple of techniques to try and help you to manage it, or try to actually leave or remove that stressful part of your life. It's impossible. We all have our stresses, but try to find out, to try and decrease it as much as you can.
I think also there are some really simple things, like you say, just sometimes when you can feel that headache sort of starting, you can kind of feel at the back of your head like, ooh, not too good. Yeah, just trying to drink a glass of water or stand up, go for a little walk, even if obviously if some people aren't in the office right now, but if you're at home, you know, obviously the weather isn't really with us at the minute for going out for a nice long walk, but even just going for a walk, doing some gentle exercise. You don't have to go out, do a 5K run by any means, or do a full body pump workout, but just like standing up, clearing your head, moving your head around, because right now it's really easy if you should just stay in this static position the whole time, or do this tiny movements, and just getting that and doing some gentle movements, standing up, getting a bit of fresh air, going for a gentle walk can really benefit you, and it can really stop those sort of migraines or headaches just creeping in at the back of the head.
And that helps with stress as well, isn't it? If you're at home the whole day stressing out about your work and not having seen the sunlight, then go out, take deep breath in on your, like, walk around the block, and just try to clear your mind out a little bit, and things like that can really.
Yeah, and you might find that when you get back to your desk, you're actually a little bit more invigorated and keen to get back into it, and got some.
Standing tall.
Yeah, exactly. You won't have that sense of writer's block, and you'll just feel a little bit more refreshed. So it's just simple things like that. And like Maud said earlier, some gentle stretches. You can stretch forwards and backwards, and just doing a figure of 8 with your head. It looks a little bit strange, but if it's just you at home, then you don't really need to mind about what people think.
Yeah, I give some weird exercise to my patients. I'm like, don't worry, nobody gonna see you. Or if they do, then tell them try it, and it's great. And so they do it themselves.
Exactly. People do, and even if you are in the office, people look at you weirdly, maybe once or twice, and then they'll get over it.
And it's great for you, so it's great. It should be great for everyone. So that's it.
Exactly. You can encourage them to get on board with it as well, because
Yeah.
everyone suffers from headaches, and everyone wants that sort of like key knowledge, that little tip of like, ooh, okay, well, I might give that a little go then.
Mhm.
It's your health is incredibly important, and something like that, which can be quite debilitating, you always just want to have just something that you can try before, being forced to lie in your bedroom for a day with all the curtains closed and ear mufflers on.
Yeah, definitely. So I think to wrap up, we're probably just going to give maybe top 3 tips. What would you tell your patients?
Top 3 tips for well, get a diagnosis so you know what you're fighting if you need that. Um, Easy things to get rid of it: fresh air, drink some water, um, and don't stress too much about it. That would be my third one. It can be quite uncomfortable sometimes, but just stressing over it won't help the situation. And
Yeah.
yourself?
Great. I think definitely the diagnosis and the knowledge that there is someone that can help you out there. That might be us. That might be us then referring to GP or to someone else that can help you the best. But it's definitely someone that can be there and try to help you throughout if you really, really getting some grief with migraines and things like that. Um, Stress down, definitely trying to relax and keeping that
Yeah.
down, trying to manage your life, trying to find a balance in life, I think, between stress and just relaxing and letting your body recharge. So good night of sleep, so that's when your body recharges and heals. So it's really nice things to do to try to get some good sleep. I know it's quite hard at the moment. I've heard a lot of people saying that they haven't had so much good sleep. But
Yeah,
hopefully,
I haven't had that much good sleep either, but it's just maybe you need to just change up your situation. So I've been listening to a little podcast before I go to sleep rather than looking at Instagram, or
mm,
just an hour before bed, just have that chamomile tea or something to just
yeah,
desensitize yourself. And worrying is pretty easy to do at the moment, obviously, but there are certain things you can do before bed, ticking it off in your head of, okay, well, this is what I wanted to do today. Have I done that? If we haven't done that, do I need to do it right now, or can it wait till tomorrow?
yeah,
So your brain, you've done all the jobs that you need to do. You've thought, okay, that's fine. It's okay for me to now just switch off
yeah.
entirely.
I'm a great believer in lists and then ticking it off.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm at night, like in my bed, and I'm thinking of things, and then I'm like, I need to write it down. It needs to be all there, and then I can relax and get it off. And sometimes just that helps me to get into that nice and deep sleep.
Yeah, it's quite satisfying, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
cracking that off. Yes,
crossing it. I've
done.
done it. Good.
Job's
Thank you.
finished.
It's done and dusted. Great. So it was really nice talking to you, Sophie. We're
Yeah.
gonna end there. I hope you all enjoyed it. Tune in for next week if you can, and just give a little comment below if you need help with your headaches or asking any questions, and we'll try to answer you. All right.
Yeah. Perfect.
Then bye. See you.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.